Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Johnny TCG back at it again with more 8.5 content. This is what the people need. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about Starter Deck 10 Luffy, one of my favorite leaders in the game. Not the best leader, but it's really fun to play, at least I think. With the release of the new starter decks, a lot of old leaders got new support, and while the new purple starter deck was meant for OP8.5 Purple Luffy, I think Starter Deck 10 Luffy can take advantage of some of the cards in it. I think this new engine is really fun, really interesting, and allows for a lot of different possibilities and playstyles. For those that don't know, Starter Deck 10 Luffy is a red-purple 3-life 6,000 power leader. His ability reads, activate main once per turn. If your Don is 0 or 8, you can ramp a Don from your Don deck as active. What this means is that once you get to the late game, you are able to cheat out some big bodies quicker than your opponent can, and then also re-ramp once you drop this guy, Gear 5 Luffy. I'm jumping ahead though, let's take a look at the deck list. Of course, after the deck profile, we will have a giveaway, then we're going to go into some 8.5 games for you. Starting off, we have 4 Namis. This card's great. Turn 1, I really want to see it. Searches up a Straw Hat card besides Nami. This, along with our 4-cost Zoro makes sure that we are pretty much always seeing the cards we need to see. I run 2 Monkey D. Dragons and 2 Silver Israeli. These are some of the top end cards I really like. I can't decide exactly on the ratio yet or which one I like better. They're both really situational. The Dragon is great when you're really trying to rush down your opponent and apply a lot of pressure. Rayleigh is more of a slower tempo card. This allows you to minus the power of 2 of your opponent's characters and then KO one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 3,000 or less. This effect is great. I really love this card. 2 copies seems fine. I don't know. I'd love to hear your opinion on this card in this deck. I don't think every deck list will run this card, but I personally am enjoying it right now. 4 Bonclays. Bonclay is a great turn 2 play if you're on the even curve. If you play this out on turn 2, you're going to be able to play Luffy Taro and one of those combos on turn 3, which is great. Even if he gets KO'd by black and you don't get to swing with him, it was still ramp. 4 OP8.5 Zoro 3 costs. This card is good if you're going on the odd curve or sometimes even on the even curve. If you're on the odd curve, you're going to throw this down. Hopefully it survives the next turn. If you're playing against black, it might not. Then you're going to swing with it. Ramp it on as active. Profit. If you're on the even curve, it's not your best play on 4 Don, but depending on the matchup, it might make sense to do Nami Searcher and Zoro on turn 2, and I think there's a good argument for that sometimes. You'll see in the gameplay a turn where I do that, and I think I explain my reasoning pretty well. 2 Gear 5 Luffys. This is the MVP of the deck. It will win you games. It is sometimes ridiculous how you might think you're out of the game. It's just a Hail Mary, but you throw it down and you end up winning just because it's so unique and hard to deal with from your opponent's point of view. Only 2. The thing is, with our Nami Searcher, our Zoro Searcher, our Sangoro drawing us cards, our Queen drawing us cards, I don't really feel like I'm ever not finding it when I need it. And so therefore, I think 2 is fine. This Sanji blocker, while good in its own regard as a 6-cost 6,000 power blocker that is searchable in our deck, is also great because it's a 2k counter. And with his ability, if you're at 2 or less Don than your opponent, you can play him out for 3 Don. Meaning, you can sometimes play him out with Luffy Taro. You'll often find yourself playing him after you just did the Gear 5 Luffy turn skip, where you'll be at 4 Don ideally, which is much less than your opponent. You can play this for 3 Don, and now you've got a blocker set up if you need to survive another turn. 3 Queen. This is great late game to cycle your hand, find the cards you need. Only 3 feels like a fine amount for me, but some people probably run 4. Usohachi, this is a new addition to the deck, and it is a welcome addition. It's mainly used as a 2k, but it can be used late game when you're going for lethal. On play, if you have 8 or more Don, you can rest one of your opponent's characters of 5 or less. This is hitting your Sabos. This is hitting your Rouge. It's hitting your Rebecca's. What more could you want? This is a card that I'm constantly choosing off my searches just because it's a good 2K. Onami is a new blocker as well. 4 cost 2000 power isn't anything to write home about, but you can play it off Luffy Taro's effect. And on play, you can trash a card from your hand and then draw 2 cards. It's like the opposite of Queen. Definitely note that the on play for Usohachi, Onami, and Sangoro are only when your Don is at 8 or more. So their on play effects or when attacking effects are not always live. So be aware of that. Sangoro, I love this card. Another new card from the purple starter deck. When attacking, if you have 8 or more Don, draw a card. That's insane value. It doesn't require a Don commitment. It doesn't require anything. Just a free draw. Another new card from the starter deck is 4 cost Zoro Joro. 4 cost, 6000 power. This fits great in purple Luffy, but also very well in red purple Luffy. You play this down, you get to search for a purple straw hat type character. Definitely take note that it's purple only. There was a game where I was trying to take Radical Beam and I was like, why isn't it working? Gotta read your cards, folks. This is good to play on the turn right before Luffy Taro if you need to find a target for the Luffy Taro to play out, or you can even play it out with Luffy Taro and get great value. Luffy Taro, the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend. This is the best card from the new starter deck. 7 cost, 8000 power. On play, Don -1. You may play a cost 5 or less Straw Hat from your hand. This card allows you to go wide in a deck that you otherwise didn't really have a chance to go wide with. I love it. It's so much fun to play. 3 Radical Beams. Maybe this could be 4. I don't know. Radical Beam's an amazing card late game, so I don't know. You tell me. Should I be making this 4? 1 Diable Jambe. Similar to the Gear 5 Luffy, I'm not running a lot of these. I'm only running 1, but between the Nami searchers and all the card cycling I'm doing and card drawing I'm doing, I think 1 is kind of fine. If you wanted to run 2, go for it, but I think any more of that is probably overkill. Last but not least, we have Gum Gum Jet Gatling. 0 cost event allows you to trash a card from your hand and get 3000 counter power. This is great when you have too many bricks in your hand. It's even great when you get the trigger early in the game, essentially ramping you a Don if you want it. I think this deck has a lot of firepower in 8.5. It's not going to dominate the meta, I don't think. Being a 3 life leader just hurts so bad. Only 3 life is crazy. Not just because you're closer to dying, but also just those cards that you're not getting because you're not a 4 or 5 life leader. You're not drawing those resources when you're getting hit. If you draw a bad hand and you've got not a lot of counter, you're going to die pretty quickly. There are plenty of other cards that I think could fit in this deck and you may prefer to use. I'd say if you play any of these, you're not crazy. Some of them are really good in the deck, and based on some of my matches, I may reconsider putting some of these in. Before we get into the gameplay, of course, I have a giveaway for you. Today we're giving away a boom custom Garp Don. Who doesn't love Monkey D. Garp? He is the man, the myth, the legend, the hero of the Marines. If you want to win this Don card, all you gotta do is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. If this video gets 25 likes in the first 24 hours, I'm giving it away completely free. Who doesn't love free Don? You are probably tired of hearing me yap. Roll the gameplay. Rob Lucci from OP8.5, the bane of my existence. We are going to be going second. I really like this hand. I do not see any of my top end, but we will be able to search it with Nami and Zoro. I really like that. On turn 2, I don't actually always play the 4 cost Zoro from the new starter deck. Oftentimes I will play the Mr. 2 Bon Clay just because it allows me to play the starter deck Luffy earlier, and that card is so good. I'll be able to combo that with the 4 cost Zoro, and so I really like that play. That's probably what I'm gonna do. They're gonna go Spandam and then 7000. I will take that hit. At 4 Don, it is time for Mr. 2 Bon Clay. The Bon Clay will probably get removed this next turn, but that is perfectly fine. It did its job. It ramped us 1, and now we're gonna play Luffy next turn. They've got 5 Don to work with. I am expecting a Sabo here, or maybe a Who's Who. They swing 5 with leader, then throw down a Who's Who to KO the Mr. 2 Bon Clay. They just go 8000 with leader. I'm going to take this. It feels risky going down to 1 life card already, but hey, that's the nature of playing Red Purple Luffy. They played on the Uta from Starter Deck 8, which has seen a lot of play in, I believe, OP8.5 lists are running it. We're going to start out our turn by going 6 with Leader, which they take, and then we're going to go Luffy. I consider the Onami just because it is a blocker and we are down to 1 life, but I decide we got to go with the Zoro Joro. The value is just too good. We'll search up a card, hopefully find a 2K, which we do. We get the Usohachi, and now we're sitting pretty well. 5,000 at us. That is just for the Leader ability. They will probably find a way to get rid of Mr. Tube on Clay. Here we see the Jack. It will be able to get rid of the Mr. Tube, but that is perfectly fine. I really like our board right now. Against Rob Lucci, you got to go fast and you got to go wide, which is what we are trying to do. We're going to start with 6,000 from Zoro. I'm debating on how I want to play this turn. We could go Dragon and go offensive into their life. We could try to get Jack off the board, but they have so many cards in hand. I don't think we'll be able to do that. We could do another Luffy and then play out a 5-cost Sanji. I love that new Sanji card. It is so good, allowing you to draw basically every turn. 6,000 to them. They will give us the counter. Now we're going to go 8,000 into them. We are going to ignore the Jack with those first 2 swings just because I don't think we'll be able to remove it. I think a better solution would be to just go wide. I do go Dragon here, swinging 8,000 with Luffy after giving him 2 Rested Dawn. In hindsight, I don't think I could go wrong either way between the Dragon and then the 7-cost Luffy. I think maybe I really don't know, because the Dragon does allow us to put on a ton of pressure, which we do love. But Luffy does allow us to go even wider, which we also love. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about that play. What would you have done in that situation? I would love to hear your opinions. The comment section is always giving me thoughtful insights, and I'm always grateful to hear it. Then with our remaining 1 Don, we are going to play out the Nami, and we do get the 10 drop. Luffy, this is basically... This will be the game ender probably next turn. They could block her up. A Rebecca Sabo here would be really good for them. Just hiding behind that wall, filtering their hand, getting a bunch of 2Ks. That might be enough, but honestly, we have so many swings. They would have to get rid of at least one of my characters. We got Luffy and Dragon, both which are 8,000 power and 9,000 power respectively. Then we could drop the turn skip Gear 5 Luffy next turn and be sitting nice. They're going to start with 5,000 into lead, giving -1 to the Dragon. It looks like they're going to try to remove that off their board. I'm trying to take a look at their trash, seeing what they could possibly do. Do they have the Gecko, Rebecca, Spandine, Lucci combo? It doesn't matter, they concede. We take a look at their hand, and they did have some options. They could have Rebecca brought back a Lucci and then Ice Aged the Zoro Joro or even the Luffy, but I don't think it matters. We had a very strong position. Gear 5 Luffy would have sealed the deal for us next turn. GG's. Next up, we have a mirror match against a fellow RP Luffy player. This time, it's actually against a Twitch streamer. It's Davlin, I believe his name is. It was quite funny. He was streaming while we were playing. I was recording, and it just turns out we were both making content at the same time. He beat me in the first game. It was a best 2 out of 3. This is the start of the second game, hoping for better luck. I am going to be going second. We'll see if we can make it happen. Our hand is okay. It's not amazing. What I really liked about it was the Bon Clay and the 2 Usobbs, 2Ks. We really are going to want some counter in this matchup. They're going to start 3 Don, swinging 6. I let it hit, and then playing Zoro Joro. Normally, I would go Bon Clay here, but I do have the option to do Nami and Zoro Joro. I think I like that play better, as it will allow me, 1, to get a search off, and then 2, with Zoro Joro, I can swing back into their Zoro Joro. Off the search from Nami, I'm going to take another Usohachi 2K. Can't have enough 2Ks in this matchup. I'm pretty sure he doesn't run the 4-cost Law, if I remember correctly, but we'll see. So I am not too afraid of keeping a bigger hand size. That is something that I need to keep in mind when playing against this deck. 6,000 with Zoro Joro at me. I am going to start countering just because I don't want to go too down in life. That was my mistake last game. I give him the Sangoro 5-drop, which in hindsight may not have been the best play. That card is so good when you pair it with the 7-drop starter deck Luffy, and so in hindsight I'm a little bit questioning that play. We're going to start out with a swing into their Zoro Joro with our Zoro Joro. They let it go. We get to ramp it on, and then we're going to play our own Mr. 2 Bon Clay, ramping some more, and then I think we're going to go Queen here. Going another Bon Clay wouldn't be the craziest thing either. For 5 Don, we'll go Queen, use leader ability. We do find the 7-drop Luffy, and that is why I'm like, dang, I should not have gotten rid of that Sangoro. Should have gotten rid of that Bon Clay, probably. No worries, though. They are going to play down the 7-drop Eustace Kid from Starter Deck 10. I absolutely love that card. I love the artwork. I love the ability, and I just love it. They're powering up their leader. It gets plus 1,000 this turn, and during my turn, now they're going to swing big with their Bon Clay. They're probably going to copy my Queen, and therefore they're going to be able to swing 8,000. Actually, they're going to be swinging 9,000. This is into life. That feels really bad. I'm going to have to block with Queen. I don't want to go down to 1 life card. Maybe I should have, because leaving that Queen on the board would be great protection against a turn skip Gear 5 Luffy. But alas, I'm going to get rid of the Queen. Then 7,000 at us. I think we should 2K here, and that's what we'll do. We'll 2K out of it. We're at 10 Don. Nothing feels great. I won't be able to play anything meaningful off of the 7-drop Luffy. It seems like going Gear 5 Luffy here might be the move, but it just doesn't feel great. We're going to do it. Get rid of our characters on board. They've got a ton of cards in hand, so I don't think lethal is going to be the play for this turn. I mean, we can try, but I don't think we're going to be able to get there. We're going to do a 7,000 swing with leader, which they give us a 1K. That Nico Robin is a nice tech in this deck. I don't run it in my list, but maybe I should consider it because it would be able to get rid of a pesky Rebecca blocker in a late game situation. That is probably worth including in the deck, maybe a 1 or 2 of. We're skipping their turn. Now it's our turn. We could go Mr. 2 Bon Clay, or we can go Sanji blocker, depending on how we are feeling. We also can just go all in if we're really crazy. Looking back at it, I don't know. I don't think we're crazy if we go all in. I like to play it safe, though. We're going to go 7 with lead. They'd have to give us a 1K. I forgot they were 1,000 powered up anyway. So they're able to 1K out of that with Zoro Joro, 3 cost. Then we're going to play the Sanji blocker. If they drop a Gear 5 right now, it's going to be a little rough for us. We don't have a ton of counter in hand. We've got a 2K, a 1K, and the 0 cost 3,000 power event. I'm just hoping that our 10-drop Luffy stays alive, but I do not feel 100% confident right now. They're going to start by playing the 6-cost Sanji blocker. Just going to try to play defensive here, it seems like. It would be amazing if we top deck a Diable Jambe. Just use that on our leader and swing big. 8,000 at us. I'm debating countering out of that. I don't think countering out of it would have been ridiculous with our 0 cost event and trashing Luffy. But we take that. We get the Nami blocker. That's fine. Nothing amazing. Then they're going to play down the Queen. They're just going defensive this turn. 7,000 at us. I think we're good to give them the 2K. They just concede a little bit early, so I do consider it a little bit of an early concede because who knows what I would have done that turn. Maybe I don't go for game and they top deck a Gear 5 Luffy, and that's a big top deck, you know. I don't think they would have won, but it's possible. You never know. So GG's though. Check out their Twitch. Yeah. Our last game of the day is against the Blue Dofi. That first hand was pretty ugly, so we're going to mulligan. This hand is much better. We do see some early plays. We do hope to find some top end. Our only real solution for that right now is Zoro Joro, so we just have to hope for the best. Blue Dofi, best deck in format. It seems to be the consensus for 8.5, but we shall see. This is a really hard matchup for Red Purple Luffy, I found, just because they're able to go so wide, and Red Purple Luffy just doesn't really have any good removal early. And even late game, there are red cards and purple cards that can remove bodies with effects, but I don't think that any really fit in this current engine. But let me know if you have any suggestions. We're going to start our turn by playing Mr. Tube on clay, swing 7 at the Mihawk, and they just let it go. I wonder if they have a Gecko that they will use to bring that Mihawk back, or if they just didn't feel like countering. 6,000 at me, I will counter, but I know what that means with 4 down left up. They're going to go the Jinbei Trafalgar Law combo, bouncing back the Mr. Tube on clay. I am considering playing him again just for more ramp. Unfortunately, we don't have our top end. Maybe I should have used the Nami search first, just to see what we could find. But we can do Zoro Joro to then find a... we have the Gear 5 Luffy, or we have the Usohachi 2K. That is a tough decision, or maybe it's not. Let me know in the comments below. I take the 2K Usohachi just because they're going to be swinging so wide at me that I really feel like I need all the counter I can get. But if you think I should have taken the Gear 5 Luffy, let me know in the comments down below. They're going to take that swing from leader, and then we are going to play a Nami Searcher, and we do get the Sanji 2K, the purple Germa version of him. That'll be nice to have as well. Now we've got a lot of counter in hand. I am feeling decent for the moment, but Dofi can get out bodies so quickly that it is hard to keep up sometimes. They're at 7 Don. We could see a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger if they run it. We also could see leader ability, then a 4-cost body. They're going to start with a Sengoku Searcher. This is going to look for a 7 Warlords of the Sea type card. They're probably hoping to find a Jinbei or a new starter deck Boa Hancock. The Boa Hancock is so strong. They're going to go with the new Marshall D. Teach, aka Blackbeard. This Blackbeard card is really interesting. His ability is activate main, put 1 card from your hand at the top of your deck, then give one of your leader or characters 2 Rested Dawn. This is great for setting up Dofi's leader ability. They're then going to play Boa with the remaining 4 Dawn, so that means that they are not going to use leader ability this turn. That doesn't really matter though. They had an amazing turn and have a full board now. With Boa, they sort the top 3 of their deck and then give a Rested Dawn to one of their leaders or characters. They're going to give it to their leader and swing 8. Here, I don't think I would have been wrong if I countered that. Now we're down to 1 life, and they do have a wide board with no way of me dealing with it at all. We're going to start out with a Nami search. Again, we have the chance to take a Gear 5 Luffy, but I just don't think that's going to be that helpful in this matchup. I take the Luffy Taro as a card that maybe we play this turn along with Sangoro, or maybe we have to go the Nami blocker. Playing out the Luffy Taro, we could also take Usohachi and maybe rest one of their characters, but Usohachi is a 2K, so that's not the best play in my opinion. I think we just go Sangoro here. Hopefully, if we can survive, it'll provide great card draw for us. Using leader ability, we have 3 Dawn remaining. We're going to start out with a 6,000 swing from Mr. Tube on clay into their leader. Here, they're going to counter 2K with that. I don't think they needed a counter. They've got 4 life still. No point in going too far down in card advantage in their hand. At least that's my opinion. But what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. 6,000 at them with Zoro Joro. They will block with Boa. And are they going to counter out of this? I definitely don't think they should be countering out of this. But again, what do I know? They give me the 1k Jozu to save the Boa. Now I'm just going to swing big into the Boa. That card is strong. It's a 6,000 swing. Let's get it off the board. 1 Don up for Radical Beam, a couple of 2Ks in my hand, and a couple of 1Ks. They're going to start out with a swing into Mr. Tube on Clay. I just got to let that go. Absolutely no point in defending against it. They're going to play out Trafalgar Law, the new one from the starter deck, and bounce my Zoro Joro back to hand. It doesn't have any counter, so that's definitely a good play for them. But it would be a good target for a 0-cost event. 6,000 at me with Jinbei, I counter out of that. 6,000 at me with their other Law, I'll give them another 1k. Will they use Marshall D. Teach's ability here? I don't think that would be crazy of them. They are going to use leader ability, play out the Gecko Moria, get back a 2k counter. They're sitting pretty nice right now, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really have a clear path to victory. Their board is just so wide. Maybe I can't just go straight for life, because then on the clapback they're just gonna absolutely destroy me. We're gonna start by swinging Sangoro into their Arrested Gecko. It does successfully land, which is good. It lets us draw a card, and we get the Queen. We're gonna play out the Queen blocker, and we're gonna trash the Diable Jambe. While that is a great card, I am just going to be lucky if I survive that long. You could have also made the argument that I should have gotten rid of the Zoro Joro too. Maybe I'll play down the Zoro Joro just to search for something else even again. 7,000 into their 5,000 Jinbei. That they'd have to give me 2 cards if they want to keep it alive. They probably do have that counter for it. It's just a matter of if they want to keep it alive. They are going to give me the Jinbei, which is nice. Now I'll swing into the Rested Law with Luffy Taro. I almost played the Zoro Joro first, but it makes sense to play it after I swing with Luffy, just because I don't want my opponent to have an idea of what I am thinking. We do find a Nami and a Radical Beam. We don't have enough Don to use this Radical Beam because we already have another one, and so I'm kind of like, do I take the Nami just for instant counter? You actually can take the Zoro Joro off of itself, and the Zoro Joro actually only searches for purple cards, so I could not take the Nami and Radical Beam, so my decision was made for me, which in life, sometimes that's nice, you know, takes the burden off you. They're going to start with a Jinbei Weevil combo, such a diabolical combo for the new Dofi, and then swing 8,000 at me, using leader ability to play out Gecko Moria again. They'll probably take back a 2k, maybe their Boa Hancock, because that blocker is great. This is pretty rough, ladies and gentlemen. I think a 0-cost event would do the trick. I think that would be simple enough to play that along with trashing Zoro Joro. That's what we're going to do, keeping the blocker on the field, keeping blocker Queen on the field, just because we'll need it. 9,000 at me. This might be a good time for the Radical Beam. Man, does it feel bad using the Radical Beam here. Wish we could save it for another turn, but alas, they're swinging big. I got to do what I got to do. We're going to start out a turn with a Sangoro swing, my favorite thing to start out my turn with, just because it allows us to draw a card and have more options for our turn. That is so crucial. If you're playing a deck with this card 99% of the time, you're going to want to swing with it first before you do anything. Again, there are exceptions, but you want to make sure you're sequencing things correctly. They're going to counter out of that swing. Now, are they going to counter out of my Zoro Joro swing? They will not. That Law dies. I really feel like my back is against the wall here. I think they've been playing a little bit too focused on going wide instead of going tall. Because I'm a 6k leader, I do have a little bit of built-in counter, and so you need to swing a little bit taller than normal. We're just able to clear their rested characters. Here we're actually going to go 5 with Nami just to continue to put pressure on them. We don't really have a great play right here. I'm thinking maybe we go Sanji blocker. We could go Luffy Taro as well, and maybe play out Zoro Joro 3 cost, but I don't think that's ideal. We're just going to go Sanji blocker and pass. We've got 2 blockers up. We are sitting pretty well. Decent amount of counter in hand. A Gravity Blade Raging Tiger would not be ideal, but it wouldn't be the end for us, I don't think. They are going to play down to Jinbei. Lets them draw a card. I do think they should be swinging here, maybe 7s, forcing us to use 2Ks or our blockers. 6,000, I think we give them the 1K Zoro Joro counter here. That makes sense to me. We do get out of that hit. They're going to give 1K to Jinbei, or 1 down to Jinbei, swing 6,000 at us. This we are going to take. I don't want to use the 2K. They won't be able to get rid of both my blockers, and so I will be safe, is what I thought, until they played Perfume Fumeur. I completely forgot about this card, ladies and gentlemen. I am so embarrassed. They're going to go all in. Do we have the counter? We do. Can we kill them this next turn on the clapback? We will have 6 swings. They have 3 life cards left. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We just got to hope that they don't have a bunch of 2Ks in hand. A bunch of 7s will probably do the trick. I am not the math god. I am not about to sit here and do all the calculations. We are just going to start out with a 6,000 swing from Sangoro just to draw a card in case we got Gear 5 Luffy. That might have been the move if we drew it. But alas, we do not. They counter out of the 6,000 swing. The 7,000 swing hits. Now we're going to go 9 with Luffy Taro. Not swinging with my blockers first, just in case anything crazy happens. But at this point, I don't think I have any other options. It is fine to swing with them. Now we're going 7,000 with Queen. They are going to counter out of that. These next 2 hits have to hit, and we should be able to get it unless their hand is all 2Ks. 9,000 with Sanji. Now 10,000 with Leader. Show me all 2Ks. They got 1. They don't have it. GG's. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you. What did you think about them? I am loving this leader. It is so much fun in 8.5. Just testing out a new engine is always a great time. I think it works pretty well. I don't think this is going to be meta breaking. I don't think you're going to tear it up at the regional scene with it. But alas, at a locals, if you told me you won with this deck, I wouldn't call you crazy. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching till the end. Consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any content. I've got more decks coming for you. Off meta, meta, spice, mild. I don't know what's the opposite of spice? Bland. We got some bland decks coming for you. No, cut that out. That's not good marketing, editor. Cut that out. But seriously, thanks for watching. This has been a Johnny TCG production. Peace.